Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. This is the Kevin Jackson Show, by the way, for those of you who are listening for the first time. Here's what I find interesting. I find interesting how the left tries to force you into a particular type of feeling about things, and it bothers me. I mentioned in the previous segment about how the left wants you to feel about transgender, LGBT issues, women in general, how they're changing the way you should feel about men, being a man in the world. How they want to change how you should feel about putting America first, making America first, wanting to have America be first at something. They want to tell you how bad that sounds, how it feels to you, right? And you're going, but wait a minute, putting America first, that seems like what I should be doing. It's my country. There you go, see? And they want to make you feel bad. And it bugs me. Because they don't want you to have this feeling that probably would be your normal reaction to things. For example, I mentioned a second before when we went off when I ended the last segment, I said, if you see two men kissing in public, I'm talking about passion kissing, that should be weird to you. I'm not homophobic. I don't really care who people are with. But I will tell you this. If I see two men like really kissing in public, I go like, wow, that's weird. Even knowing the world as it is today, I still go, that is weird to me. As a heterosexual male, I don't look at that and go, wow, they're so in love. Now, for the record, even when I see heterosexual couples kissing like that in public, my first thought is get a room. Which means that I don't consider it weird. But I do consider it. We used to have this thing when I went to military school called PDA. You could get written up for PDA. And that's called public display of affection. So the most you could do with a girl in public was to hold her hand. If you were caught leaning up against her while she's sitting on a, cement thing or, bricks on the park and you're between her legs and y'all are all lovey-dovey kissing and all that, you could be written up and lose liberty. We called it liberty. The weekend, it was like, you got liberty this weekend? Yeah, meaning you didn't get, anything bad happen to chits to where you had to stay. You're like, nah, man, we got liberty this weekend. It was freedom. And you wanted it. You took advantage of it. But you could get written up for PDA. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just my upbringing. I'm not the type of person who would walk around going, let's all kiss each other. And, it was a more military approach. I'd hold your hand or whatever, put my arm around you a little bit. But PDA, and here's the other side of it. I always look, I hate to say this, but it's just the truth. I always looked at people that are really gushy-gooey in public. I always think to myself, wait till I see y'all next year. Yeah, y'all be walking 6 feet apart. Don't even want to know who, act like y'all are together. Because I've just seen that so often. And I'm a cynic. I'm somewhat of a cynic. My grandparents were together and the entire time from the moment they adopted my brother and I, my brother and me, till the moment they died, they were together as a couple. So you would think I wouldn't be cynical. Now, so that's my reality. I lived that, but I was observant. I looked all around me at everybody else. And here, for the record, my grandparents weren't overly affectionate to one another. They just lived life. I've seen them argue, very rarely, but I've seen them argue. And I watched how my grandfather and how they interacted with one another, where my grandmother would go, ooh, I got to check with, your grandfather on that one. She deferred many times to him, and I would see where he would have to own up to a mistake, and things like that, where she would say, I told you. I saw the whole deal. So I've seen the interaction of a good couple working together, but the woman being deferential to her husband, and it worked out great. And then I've seen others that do something dramatically different. These feminists that believe men are just there to bring money and just, whatever, I'm equal. Okay, great. Now I've seen the divorce rate soar. But anyway, here's my point. When I see something strange, if your feet are size 30 and you're walking through the mall, but let me put it a different way, because I'll look at you. If you're walking through the mall with size 30 feet, I will notice, and I'll know it's strange. If you're one of my friends, I will absolutely rank on you about your big feet You better know this. Okay? It's just the way it is. But it would be because I love you. I like, man, Kevin come in the room, you better watch. Don't be anywhere near them feet. He'll knock you out. Kevin, can you even throw? Could you hit a dude? I mean, look, it isn't like you have to aim, but look at the size of the foot. But if you kick the dude in the crotch, you'd break his pelvic bone, huh? That would be the kind of thing I would be ranking on you. That's the way I roll. Anyway, the left, they want to control us. They want us to tell us how to think. They want to tell us what to say, and it drives me crazy. And I'll give you some examples. So I read this thing. Educators were teaching 12th graders, and these are words they want removed from the lexicon. And there are 4 of them that I took note of. One is lame. See, it was originally used to reference people who couldn't, who had trouble walking. Physical disability. You walk with a cane because you're lame. And they said, well, it doesn't have a strong negative connotation, but definitely doesn't mean it's okay to use the word lame. Because people go, man, you're so lame. Y'all lame over there. And it's been a lot of, it's a college kid's word. But disability rights activists want the word phased out. And in this thing, they said, we have a responsibility to respect that. Because somebody's lame or crippled or inambulant. I mean, you can come up with a lot of words that mean the same thing, but they want lame gone. The next one was OCD. When you have our desk all nice and tidy, you might be tempted to proclaim yourself OCD. But obsessive compulsive disorder is a mental illness that means so much more than a knack for organization. It means having a lack of control over certain thoughts or actions, so much so they inhibit daily life. So when you say something like, man, every time you come in, Kevin's desk is all fixed up. You OCD, brother? They're telling you, oh, that's bad to say because people suffer from that. So what? Is it bad to say black because people suffer from blackness? Woman because people suffer from womanness? You name it. There's always a reason to feel bad. Here's the next one, crazy. If you use the term crazy countless times a day, you're probably in the norm. But that doesn't mean it's okay. Terms like crazy or insane, for that matter, make light of the mental illness in a way no ally wants to support. So when you use the word crazy, insane, nutty, loony, whatever, you're offending the mentally ill who suffer from those maladies. So in other words, you're offending all the leftists. Then the final one was ghetto. Suspected to derive from an Italian slang term for waste, the word ghetto calls back to concentration camps of World War II. But it's also been used to label neighborhoods marginalized communities were forced to inhabit due to social and economic disadvantage. Classism and racism run rampant when you call a place or a person ghetto. Well, I do it all the time. And these ghetto leftists, with their crazy but lame excuses and their OCD behaviors that are so predictable when it comes to race and class, deserve no mention. And they're never going to make me stop talking about my Guatemalan midgets. And I'm going to get a couple of female Guatemalan midgets too, just to be on the safe side. We'll be back in a bit. Keep it here.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.